Coming up on this episode of Inside the Great Commission Transmission Network, we're gonna go bowling, celebrate a birthday with some yummy pizza. I'm gonna edit the last episode of Youth Challenge today. Well, not the last episode, but the most recent one. And I'm not gonna show you this kitten, because he doesn't belong here. All that and more coming right up. Turn back the clock. A few of you may have noticed that there was no episode of IGCTN last Thursday. I have a very good and valid excuse. There was a tragedy right here in the GCT Network studio, and I didn't have it in me to carry on with filming. But I did start my normal filming last Thursday morning, so let's do the time warp and roll back the clock about 7 days exactly. Just completed writing the show notes for last week's IGCTN. It's uploading right now, and I spilled a whole giant cup of water on my soundboard. This is not good. It's ruined. What happened was, well, you saw in the last episode of IGCTN, what was that, episode 13? I rearranged the studio after getting some new equipment. I've always kept my water sitting on this side of the desk because it was away from the soundboard on that side of the desk. One of my very sweet daughters brought down some lunch for me and my usual cup full of water. 16 ounces of water at a time. Drink several of them during the day. It's great for your body. Set it down like I normally do, doing something on one side, turn, and the whole thing, right here, went all over and down inside the channel tracks. Well, after the initial reaction of, I jumped up, run upstairs, grabbed a bunch of towels, soaking up, sopping up. I didn't realize that it had gone down into the channels itself. When I noticed that, I hear cracking and popping. I turned the master control room volume, and it was the nastiest sound I ever heard. I immediately unplugged everything, unplugged the power from it, laid a towel down on the desk, laid it upside down, and that whole day was shot, ruined. I was sick. I put out a call on Facebook. I put out a call on Twitter, and a very dear friend of the network who will remain nameless right now because I haven't asked for his permission to mention him. He stepped up and plopped down 2/3 of the cost to replace the board. I'm still working on rounding up the last third, so what I did was took this thing apart, let it dry on some very absorbent towels upside down for a couple of days solid, a good 48 hours at least. Put everything back together. Channel 1 is dead. Everything else will make noise if I touch it. I have it set right now so that I can limp this thing over the finish line. It will do until we can replace her. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Oh, and the moral of the story? This water will never sit on this side of the desk. In fact, I'm getting nervous and queasy, kind of like car sick, just holding it here. Here in a couple of weeks or so, when I'm able to replace this board, this old one is going to make a great educational tool for the kids. Step up, kids. Dad's going to show you how a mixing board works. Do you think they'll be as excited as I am? I just brought down my walking stick that I got last year or earlier this year at the Tennessee Renaissance Festival. TenRen. I thought it would look cool in the studio here somewhere. I need to figure out where to put it. Put it back with the guitars. Nah, that's too busy over there. We'll figure it out. Last week on Friday morning, the day after the tragedy happened with the soundboard, I went with my wife and kids down to Tullahoma for their weekly fellowship co-op. That's where they get together one day a week with a bunch of other homeschool kids, and they do 4 classes, and they're specialized classes. They're really cool classes that some of them, which you hard to provide that kind of instruction at home because you get people that are specialists in their particular field. I took the camera and I wanted to film, but I was still too distraught. But the last class of the day, my 2 oldest kids have together, and it is Middle Ages. It's a Middle Ages class, and man, the gentleman that was teaching that class, this guy has been into Middle Ages, knights, swords, all that type of stuff. The Middle Ages, Renaissance for, well, his whole life, really. And I talked to him a little bit afterwards, but I want to get to know him better. I know he makes his own swords. Now, where are we going to put you? Break time. Tomorrow is my son's birthday, and we're heading up to Murfreesboro to do some bowling. Hey, Micah, can I show you on the camera?
No.
Gonna go pick up his buddy, head up and throw some 8-pounders, 10-pounders, 16. Six. Made it to the bowling alley and gonna throw around little black balls, but none of them are black. I'll let you see me goof up. Don't laugh. In fact, I'm getting the lightest ball that I can and putting the most spin possible on it. Oh! So the way that I bowl is I get the smallest ball that I can, in this case 8-pound. The 6-pound I can't get my fingers in at all. On the 8-pound I can't get my thumb in, but I can get the tips of these fingers. And then that way it's light enough I can put a great spin on it, and I'm still learning how to do that. And then if I don't get a strike on that throw, which I rarely ever do, then I'll get a heavy ball, 12-pound or more, and throw it straight at the pins that are remaining. What's your bowling techniques? Do you have any special techniques for, unless you're a pro bowler, of course, then you'd be talking over my head. You're speaking Greek! Any bowling tips? Leave them in the comments below. We go at least once a year.
The first time you see the weekend.
I was just telling my wife that, I'm an old school rockabilly. Kids, if you don't understand what that means, look it up. Wikipedia is your friend. Back in my day, the teenagers, all the rockabilly kids, one of our great desires was to secure a pair of bowling shoes in order to wear out day to day. It's day 2. And today is actually my son's birthday. Yesterday we were doing a pre-celebration, as our family is wont to do. We like to stretch birthdays into at least 2 days, if not more. My wife and kids are at Fellowship Enrichment this morning, and so I'm going to try and get as much done before this afternoon or early afternoon as possible, because I severely underestimated the actual time that I had to work this week. Birthdays take up a lot of time. And so I'm eating a little bit of breakfast here in the studio, away from the soundboard. Last night for dinner, my son requested breakfast. He wanted my world-famous buttermilk biscuits and chocolate gravy. You've never heard of chocolate gravy? Sure sign you've never been to the South. You just gave yourself away. I have a leftover biscuit this morning with this blackberry jam on it. Oh, I've been spending all morning researching what you folks are searching for on the internet. People don't really search for specifically Christian things, is what I'm beginning to learn. We'll figure out a way around that. See where I put my walking stick? It's a good spot. Right now, I need to record the intro for the next Youth Challenge Today episode, which is due on Tuesday, which was 2 days ago for you. This time-traveling thing. By the way, the whole family is into Doctor Who now. All right, so here we go. Let's get ready. Turn this on. Check. 1, 2. There's my echo that I'm so accustomed to. Let me turn that off real quick. Get the microphone up here a little bit. Check it against my face. Take 1. On this episode of Youth Challenge... That was too fast and muddled my words together. That's a winner, winner, winner chicken dinner, says I. But we'll do one more for good measure. It was take 8, I do believe. And this is take 9.
On this episode of Youth Challenge Today, are you a stereotypical American Christian? What does that even mean? Also, how should we as Christ followers talk about our government leaders? And how do the things we say reflect on Jesus and the church? All that and more coming right up.
Ooh, that was a winner as well. 2 winners in a row. 2, not 4. 2. Whew. 8 or 9, friends. 8 or 9. It's the pop filter helped me. It gave me the power of speech, which I really have to think about because I love to run my words all together and just slur and I want it to be one big word and they're all sitting on top of each other like a sandwich. So it's not one word running into the next, it's all of them at once.
This is your Great Commission transmission.
All right, now let's import the podcast. Import the podcast recording. That was on the 9th. Was it on the 9th? It was on the 9th. It were. Right? Let's see. Go ahead and close this bad boy as it's importing that. Give that a minute to import it and to render it out and whatnot. While waiting for that audio file to render out, I took a picture of you right where you're sitting. And I posted it on my Instagram page. You can follow me over there at MichaelGCTN, or there'll be a link to that in the description below. What are the 7 more... Beginning, great. Now we just got to tack on the outro music, and this one will be done. And it's time to celebrate the birthday boy, the big 1-4. Can I show you on video, son?
Nope.
Okay. Did I say that we were going to get pizza? Did I tell you I don't like pizza? But this is the best pizza that anybody could not like. And if you guessed Bocelli's on the town square in Shelbyville, you win a prize. Back here at Miss Billy Crowell's for piano lessons, but now I have 2 kids taking lessons. So this provides perfect opportunity to catch up on some work because I'll be sitting here for about an hour. Did you see the Pink Floyd cows aren't here? I need to work on finishing up the outline for the next Between You and Me episode, and here's a little preview for you, a special preview. It's all about Pope Francis, why I'm a fan of Pope Francis on the next episode of Between You and Me with Michael T. I asked you at least 2 questions on this episode. I can't remember everything that went on because I film over too many days. Wondering if I need to change that. Let me know below. I'm a poet and didn't know it. And Lord willing, we'll see you next Thursday right here for IGCTN. And this has been your Great Commission transmission.
You are tuned in to the GCT Network.
This is your Great Commission transmission.
At GCTnetwork.com.